Yo, what's up, Keon?
Not much. How about you?
I'm doing excellent, man. Excellent. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being willing to do it. You're the first non-magician I've had, so
Oh, no way. Well, hopefully, yeah, I'm not too boring for your audience then. Yeah, no magic tricks here.
that's fine. That's fine.
I used to like magic though.
Yes.
I had a little magic kid. I remember I was in Vegas. I don't know. I was maybe like 12 or 13 years old.
Oh,
I went
okay.
to a magic store and I brought home some stuff. It was fun.
Nice, nice.
Very good at it though.
Fair.
Yeah.
All right. So, what got you into bodybuilding shows and competitions?
Okay, cool. So let's go back a little bit. My desire to like bodybuild and be in shape, funny enough, started probably when I was like, I don't know, like 6 years old. I got into martial arts. So I did this martial art called Hapkido for
Okay.
like 7 or 8 years of my life. It was early on, so I was just getting into martial arts, seeing these guys that were in great shape. So I started to watch a lot of like action movies.
Okay.
Um, but randomly, I was watching, it was like one of the old Charlie's Angels movies with my parents. And one of the bad guys, this like Irish guy, I remember there's this one scene where he had his shirt off and the dude was like absolutely ripped. And I just remember seeing this as like a 6 year old boy, and I was like, whoa, the human body can like get like that. Like that's crazy. I just remember like seeing a six pack. I'm like, I want to have a six pack. And then so I started doing like sit-ups every single day on top of like the martial art training. And obviously the martial art training helped a ton.
Mhm.
And I think by the time I was in like third or fourth grade, I like started to get like a six pack and stuff. And other people took notice. And I was like, oh, I like the way that this makes me feel. And I like being in shape. And like martial arts was the thing that like kept me in shape for a very long time. And then I got my black belt in Hapkido. And then what happened is the studio actually had an electrical fire and burned down. So when that happened, they ended up moving it like across the city to a different building, and it was
Mhm.
just way too far at the time. My mom was like, "No, I'm not down to drive that far." So I was like, "Okay, got to hang up the black belt, not doing that anymore." And for a few years there, I guess I was kind of like sampling out different sports like skateboarding, snowboarding, mountain biking, but a lot of the sports, like the types of people that do that in like the teenage range, like, you know, they like to drink, they like to
Yeah.
party a little bit, and they don't really take care of themselves and they don't really exercise other than like the sport itself, which is like fine for staying lean, but doesn't build any muscle.
Yeah.
And by like 11th grade, like I used to always be the kid with the muscles. And I remember like I had this friend that was in like 12th grade, and I think we were like all comparing biceps or something. And like he had his, and I was like, whoa, his looks good. I'm like, hey, check out mine. And then all of a sudden, like I looked at my arm and like it was so skinny.
Mhm.
And I remember he like grabbed my arm and his like hand could like fit around my arm at the time. And I was like, everyone was like laughing. I was like, oh no, this is terrible. Like the girls are laughing. And like this guy that's in better shape than me, like was getting like, he had like a new girlfriend every couple of weeks, which like whatever. Like at that age, it's like I'm in
Yeah.
high school. That stuff mattered to me. So then I just like, I don't know, I got like really obsessed with the gym. I was like, yo, I'm gonna go to the gym. Like I want more attention. I'm tired of feeling skinny and like out of shape. I just want to be in amazing shape because I know that this is possible. And I started watching some fitness YouTubers as well. Specifically this one guy, Jeff Side, who was like had a ridiculous physique at like he was around the same age as me. He's like, I don't know, half a year older than me or a year and a half older than me, something like that. But I remember watching him and he was like 17, 18, and he started doing these like bodybuilding competitions. And this dude was in great shape, got a lot of attention from girls, got a lot of attention online, was making good money, had like a path and a route for his life. And at that time, like I wasn't super passionate about my studies in school. In high school, I just felt like I had to get through it. I'd been in school my whole life, so I was getting a little bit burnt out around it. And I was looking for a new passion. And then yeah, the gym was just like was that. It was just like a way for me to connect with like myself, my mind, my body in a similar way to like martial arts. Because I really liked the self-directed type of like sport. The individual sport was never a huge team sport guy growing up. Maybe also because I'm an only child, so maybe
Fair, fair.
that also contributes to it. But yeah, I started working out and I got in like pretty good shape pretty quickly because I was always lean and my body responded really well. And then it took me a while to get into the bodybuilding competitions because there was just always something in my mind that like kept me stuck or held me back from actually doing it, being like, oh, like my body's not good enough yet. I don't have enough muscle yet. Oh, I just want to, like prep so I can go to like these music festivals or these like vacations, like beach vacations to like look good. Um, but then I started to like, take it further and further. People were like telling me like, hey man, like you have this ability to like compete. You'll probably do really well. And it always in the back of my mind, I wanted to do it, but there's definitely like a fear of like putting myself up there to be judged on stage. Because on Instagram or social media, you can take pictures of yourself and like the best lighting, your best angles.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
was like, one arm's a little bigger than the other. My one pec's a little bigger than the other. My one lat's a little bit bigger than the other. I got to fix those things, correct them. But I think finally I hit a point where I was having a conversation with my mom. And like, to be honest, like in my early 20s were not a good thriving time for me outside of fitness. Fitness became like kind of my solace while I was going through a bunch of other like really difficult things as like a young man. And I just hit a point where I remember I was talking about this competition with my mom and she was like, "Stop talking about it." She's like, "You've been talking about it forever. I don't believe you're gonna do it. Like stop talking and start like showing."
Mhm.
Right? It's like about walking the walk. And I don't want to hear about it again until you're like signed up and you're actually doing this thing. And I was like, okay, fair enough. And like literally a day or two after that conversation, I guess one of the things that held me back, if I'm going to jump back a little bit, was that all these shows were untested and I was natural.
Okay.
So I don't want to go up against guys on steroids. I don't want to be associated with that. It's not
Understandable.
my thing. But then they released this natural stream of shows
Okay.
for their drug testing. And I was like, oh, okay, this is a good opportunity. Sorry, one sec. I think I'm going to sneeze.
No worries. Bless you.
Thank you. I got really bad allergies. It's smoky up here in Canada right now. I got bad
No
allergies.
worries.
Um, so yeah, they released this like natural stream. So the contest was going to be drug tested, and it was like 5 minutes away from the house that I was living at the time. And I was like,
Okay.
damn, in my neighborhood, drug tested, and this was like I don't know. It was November at the time or December at the time, and the show was in March. So
Okay.
it's like the perfect length away for me to prepare for a show. And then I just like started watching more YouTube videos. I didn't get a coach or anything. I like barely made any money back then. Wasn't like big on investing in myself. Didn't have like a lot of belief in that at the time. So I just like watched a bunch of YouTube videos, figured out like how do I prep myself? How do I start eating? How do I measure my food, track my macros, make adjustments, whatever. And then yeah, whatever, however many weeks later, I started the prep the end of December for shows in March and I won the whole thing. So I won.
Nice.
I did the model search first. There was like a model search in the morning. Won the model search, and then did the actual competition in the evening. Won the entire competition, including overall, which got me a qualification for nationals, which was 6 weeks later in Montreal, which is the
Okay.
other side of the country. Never been. So it gave me a reason to like. I was like, oh damn, like that's amazing. Apparently, I'm good at this. Everyone's telling me I should go to nationals. Like maybe this could be good for my personal training business as well. Went to nationals, won that, got my IFBB Elite Pro card, and then they basically invited me to go to IFBB Worlds in Poland later that year, and they were
Wow.
gonna like pay for my trip and like all this stuff to be a part of Team Canada. And I was like, oh, damn, okay, like this happened really quickly. Obviously, it was years and years and years. Like I was 23 years old and I started training at 17 years old, but took a long time to get there. But yeah, it was just to see like when you actually like take action on things and put yourself out there. Like I have this like thing that I teach within my program, even to my coaches. It's called like social and stages. It's like stages, whatever that stage might be, whether it's a podcast with somebody to get in front of their audience, or it's as like a physical stage you stand on to like bodybuild or anything that gets you in front of more people.
Mhm.
There's no reality that exists where more people knowing who you are is a bad thing, is what I've
Definitely.
realized.
Definitely.
I met so many people and it opened up so many opportunities. And so I just like took that as far as I could as a natural athlete, which unfortunately, at a certain point, if you want to go really far in bodybuilding, you have to go to the dark side and like start using those like banned substances, which I never
Mhm.
did. But I was able to take everything I learned from that to start applying that into my actual business practices, other aspects of my life, and really lean into like the personal development. So that's the long-winded story
Nice.
of what got me into it. Yeah. Yeah. And I
Nice.
still do them to this day, but again, just for a nice challenge, right? And it's
Fair.
obviously a good brand builder too, but
Definitely. Definitely. What's the
yeah.
biggest misconception people have about bodybuilding?
That's a good question. I would say that let's go the PED focused route, that it's not possible to build a like mind-boggling, like high level physique naturally.
Okay.
A lot of people on the internet think that everybody's on steroids. And to
Yeah.
be fair, there are a lot of people on steroids, but there are people out there that have done some amazing things just with their own genetics, dedication, and hard work. And I think people are so quick to, yeah, like be disbelievers. But what I've
Definitely.
learned is like any sort of judgment that you pass or belief that you have, like regardless if you believe, say someone's, I'll use this guy Mike O'Hearn as an example. I think everybody in the industry, in the fitness industry, knows Mike O'Hearn. He's like in his 50s now. Guy's built like, I don't know. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And he claims lifetime natural, even though this dude clearly is clearly not. But at the same time, it's like, well, if I'm going to throw judgment at him, it's really just like my own perception, my own beliefs, my own reality that I'm like reflecting to back upon myself.
Okay.
Because I'm like, well, okay, so what if he's natural or not? What if my mindset is that he is? What if I don't put those limitations on myself that and actually try to believe that these people are natural? Because what is that going to do for me? Like
Hmm.
if I have the belief that he's not, then basically I'm just stating to myself that I'm like pushing away my potential of what I could truly be capable of if I really dedicated the majority of my life to like specializing in that skill and like achieving the best physique possible. And I think anyone that does that and that states like, oh, there's no way this guy's natural, they're literally just like limiting themselves.
Okay. Understandable.
Yeah.
Makes sense. What keeps you going and creates drive for you?
Hmm. I've been wrestling with this lately,
Okay.
actually, because I feel like there's like a push and a pull, or we can like reference it as like the carrot and the stick.
Okay.
I think most people at the beginning, there's a stick, right? There's something that like jabs them. There's a pain that they feel in order to actually make them make a change, right? That's why if we look at like the United States of America, what is it? 75% of people are considered in the obese category,
Yeah,
uh, which is pretty insane when you think about it.
definitely.
But it's because the desire for them to be healthy, just like, or have a higher quality of life or not be like obese, isn't strong enough to like overcome the discomfort around like what it takes to actually get there.
Okay.
So the pain of staying the same needs to outweigh the pain of change. But
Definitely.
then at a point when the pain goes away, it's not just about finding the next pain, but rather it's about like being excited about the potential of what you could be.
Okay.
So again, like with my fitness, like there's no pain associated with my fitness anymore. I mean, my thermostat for change is higher. Like if I start losing my abs a little bit, like that's usually enough of like a thermostat for change for me to be like, time to dial in. I don't like that. Whereas most people, it's like they've never even seen their abs before. So I mean, I guess my thermostat is a little different that way. My belief system's a bit different that way. Just like again, if like Donald Trump, for example, a billionaire, was to all of a sudden only be worth a few $1 million, well, shit, he would probably work super hard to get back to 1 billion because that's his thermostat. He's
Definitely. Definitely.
always someone in shape. But to really take it to the next level, it's about again for me, it's like I'm trying to recognize like, well, what's truly my potential?
Okay.
What's the impact I want to have on this planet? How do I want to inspire people? What's the legacy that I want to truly leave? And again, whatever people say about legacy, I know everyone's like, no one's going to remember you, a few generations from now, but it's like, but so what? Right? How can I impact people to the greatest degree right now? And a big part of that is you have to be able to not just preach your beliefs, but show them in action. So it's like if
Definitely.
I truly help fitness coaches like break through belief ceilings, I truly want to help our clients and our fitness agency break through belief ceilings. It's like you need to be the ultimate role model. Like yeah, that's like the biggest thing. You have to be the ultimate role model in that version of that to show them what is possible. Because the more that you level yourself up, the people that are in your world, on your team, in your corner, it's like the idea that you become most like the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you hang out with 5 bums, you're bum number 6.
Hmm.
You hang out with 5 millionaires, you're gonna be millionaire number 6. It's like anyone I want in my corner, if I continue to elevate, I know they are going to be inspired by that and continue to elevate themselves. And so it's about making it almost like bigger than yourself, right? And but the wrestle between the two is like, well, I'm still breaking free from that, like, especially in business, I'm breaking free from that pain of like, I need to prove myself, I need to do better. There's like this gap and the desire to like just elevate, to grow, to create, and to help other people do the same.
Okay.
So that's my ideology on
Makes
that.
sense. Makes sense. Have you always been entrepreneurially minded, or did that come later in life?
Oh yeah, I've always been entrepreneurial minded. Yeah, for
Okay.
sure. Um, yeah, like it would have started back when like I had a job since I was like 11 years old.
Yeah.
Started with like a flyer route, which again is just like, I was employed or a subcontractor for whatever that company was, go and deliver flyers.
Hmm.
But even when I got my one of my first jobs was at a golf course. I got that when I was 12 years old. And I found a way to make more tips than any other kid that worked at this golf course.
Okay.
So when it started, I was 12 or 30, yeah, 12 years old. I was a flagger, so basically I'd stand like it's just like super long hole 10 at this golf course. It has like a big hill in the middle. On the opposite side of the hill, there's a big river and then like a little landing pad for the balls. But if people are down there, the people that are teeing off could hit them. So I got to stand there with like a red flag when it's like not safe to hit and a green flag when it's safe to hit. And I stood behind this big net.
Okay.
Um, and I would let them know when to hit. And like, if sometimes people would just like give you a tip, a dollar or two. A lot of these kids would they work these 3 hour shifts, maybe come back with like $5 in tips, which was significant because we were making like, I don't know, $7, $8 an hour, maybe only $7 an hour at the time. So it's like getting an extra hour of pay.
Hmm.
And but I found that if I went above and beyond, I would actually point out where their balls were, go help them find their balls. If it ended up into the creek, I would jump into the creek wearing my sandals, pull their ball out, give it back to them. Or if the ladies' tees were behind me, if they pulled up and the ladies were hitting, I would go and wash all their golf clubs.
Okay.
So if I did that and I was cleaning their clubs for them, they would come back, have a nice shined up set of clubs. I'd help them find their ball. They would tip more, right? They
Yeah.
would tip me $5 in one tip. Some people would drop me 10 or $20 in one tip, right? And then all of a sudden it's like I would work a 3 hour shift and I'd come back with 50 to $80 in tips by the end of this,
Nice.
like making way more money than anybody else there,
Yeah.
right? So I started to recognize like if I found ways to be a little bit different, to provide more value to the people that I help, like the reciprocity always comes back,
Yeah.
right? For the most
Definitely.
part. There would sometimes be the old lady that'd be like, oh, I just clean up her like clubs. It would take so long because they're just like so hard, so dirty. They've been like not cleaned for 50 years. And then she give me a quarter, but it's like whatever. Again, law of reciprocity though, it's like yeah, in the long run, yeah, you're always gonna get back that value on like the backside of the value that you put out into the world. So
Okay. Did you find that you had a knack for sales and it came easy, or was it more something difficult, but you found it interesting, so you stuck with it?
I was very shy and quiet as a kid, very much an observer. I think probably being an only child didn't necessarily help with that.
Fair.
Uh, So it was definitely something I had to learn by putting myself into situations where I had no choice but to talk to people.
Hmm.
And my mom was good at like pushing me to do this when I was a kid too, because she knew I was so shy. So it's like if I needed something, she'd be like, "No, you go ask." Well, I need this, so go ask this person. Or we'd be ordering something at like a restaurant. She'd be like, "All right, order." Like
Yeah.
talk to them, right? So I think it was exposure because I was very shy, very nervous. Was like good once I knew somebody, but otherwise was quite introverted. So yeah, just like the work that I did, the jobs that I had. I got a job in a movie theater when I was a teenager. The job at the golf course was like really big for customer service and talking to people. Yeah, it's just like the more you expose yourself to it, the more you learn how to communicate
Definitely.
by being with the right people. And I think that was the biggest thing because I don't think anyone is inherently born with the ability to sell. Sure, some people are a little bit more outgoing naturally when they're young versus not, but
Hmm.
again, I think your mind can be shaped a lot more than you think. And if you think you're one way, it's like, well, you just thinking you're that way, you're going to look for any sort of confirmation bias that that is the way that you are, and you'll continue acting as such, versus being like, okay, I recognize that I have these beliefs or these like behaviors or these patterns that show up in my life that prevent me from being outgoing or prevent me from doing the things that I want. But it always starts with like the first level of like awareness to be like, okay, I'm aware of this pattern, I'm aware of this belief, I'm aware of this behavior. So anytime I see it arise in my life, I'm going to, again, be aware that it's there, be like the observer of my thought and the observer of my actions, and then start to like trigger myself. So it's like, okay, when that comes up, or when I have this like belief that pops up, this fear that pops up, or this behavior that I'm about to do that I know is undesirable because I'm aware of it,
Hmm.
I'm going to act in a different direction instead. And I'm going to choose to act in the way of like the person that I want to become. And it's tough at first because you have to catch yourself. You have to like, even though it's painful and tough, you have to like try to like really shift your thinking, shift the way that you act, put yourself into that level of discomfort. But like anything with enough exposure, eventually it just becomes your like baseline, like your new factory setting,
Okay.
essentially thinking. So yeah, that's kind of how I learned. And then just like getting in a role that required me to like literally, I had to sell gym memberships, and the only way I made money was by selling gym memberships. So you get into a position where it's like, well, I have no other choice but to learn this thing and get better at this
Yeah.
thing. That's where I got mentored by this guy that I worked with at that job too, that was in sales. It was like my first pure sales role. He was like the top in Alberta, my province, like every single month. And I got to sit right next to him.
Hmm.
And so I literally just like watched what he did, asked him questions, learned from him, and just kind of repeated what he did. And then until I was able to develop my own style. But yeah, just like
Okay.
learn anything. It's like you're not gonna be good at chemistry the first time you do it. You're not gonna be good at working out the first time you do it. You're not gonna be good at magic the first
Definitely.
time you do it. So how do you get better? You just keep going, keep doing it, keep, reiterating and trying to get better in any way that you can.
Makes sense, makes sense. When did you start teaching other people to run successful coaching businesses?
Okay, so like I opened up the consulting business like about 2 years ago. Would have
Okay.
been December, I guess, of 2023. So coming up on 2 years. But the first coach I ever helped is actually now my business partner. I believe we started her coaching journey. I want to say it was either back in 2021 or 2022. I think 2021. She was a client of mine for like fitness. She
Hmm.
was doing competitions and she was basically like fresh out of university and was like, hey, okay, I got a couple options. I could either go work at the bank with like the schooling I got at uni, or like I would rather learn to do what you do. I want to help people with their fitness. And I was like, okay, cool. Do you want to be like a personal trainer, like one to one, or do you want to be an online coach? Like, so we could, that's the different things.
Yeah.
And she was like, what do you do online? I'm like, perfect, good choice. And I sent her to get a couple certifications. I was like, yeah, go get these certifications, go educate yourself. I like didn't really know where to send her because I was like, well, just do these ones that I did. They'll be like good for a baseline of knowledge. But I was kind of like, well, how do I teach someone how to do what I do? Because I learned it from a mentor, not a specific course.
Hmm.
And this mentor doesn't like mentor anybody. And it was just like kind of a one-off thing that happened with me because I knew them very well and they decided to help me. Um, so I was like, hey, you know what? Like once she had done, like, it's like 2 weeks later, she came back. She's like, yeah, I'm done those courses. I was like, oh, damn. Okay. Those took me a lot longer than 2 weeks to do. I go get her. I love it. And I was like, you know what? You're a good client. You know how my system works. Like, why don't we just figure something out where like I'll mentor you and then you can come like work for me and we'll like make a role
Okay.
for you. And that's how that started. And within like 15 months of her doing that, she went from like literally starting from scratch to having a consistent 5 figure like per month business, so
Nice.
her business, which was yeah, super awesome. And when I saw that too, and the impact that I got to have with her and how like good she is at coaching and how many people she got to impact, I just like looked, I'm like, wow, this is like like not only massive leverage of like, obviously like skill to be able to help these coaches like build businesses, but like just by extension, me helping one coach allows them to help like hundreds of clients that I otherwise wouldn't have been able to help.
Definitely, definitely.
Right? So it's just the impact that you get to have. There's so much more leverage with the impact you get to have. And that's where we got into that. And then, yeah, I had other coaches reach out to me that like, because I started mentoring a bunch of coaches under my brand in like 2022, I believe, after we had the success with Anna. Brought on like 10 coaches to the brand. That was going well. I was teaching all of them, but they all worked for me.
Hmm.
So then I did start the outside business consulting for like people that wanted to grow their own businesses, like nothing under my umbrella, where I just come in truly like just do the coaching and the mentorship to help them build their own thing. That started about 2 years ago.
Okay. Okay. So, consuming your content, I very much enjoy your style with it, and your videos that you put out tend to be very captivating and well articulated. So, who are some people you look up to and try to emulate off of for your content?
Man, okay. Dan Martell, I would say is number one. He is my business coach.
Okay.
Probably been the most influential person when it comes to my brand building. I always struggle with social media, struggle with my beliefs around social media, struggle with my beliefs in general. So like for him, it's like, yeah, the marketing side of things, he's like a master marketer.
Hmm.
He helped me a ton with like my own like self-learning beliefs too, but he's probably like the number one person I look up to because I think he's the fastest growing personal brand on social media right now. Like he was it like a couple months ago, he had gained 750,000 new followers across all of his platforms in
Wow.
30 days. And without any sort of like paid ads or anything. And yeah, it's phenomenal. So he's number one. Um, Now I got my social media coach too.
Okay.
Same social media coach,
Yeah.
Evan. That's the guy, Evan, absolute beauty, Evan Alberto.
Yeah.
Uh, look up to him huge. Like the stuff that he's been able to accomplish, how he's helped, the scripting, like the templates he gives me, that's been key. And just even me investing in his service was like a signal to myself that it's like, hey, I have to do this. Like I have to show up, I have to get consistent, I got to try new things, I got to put myself out there. So he's been a huge help. And then I also really like there's this guy higher up wellness, Michael Smoke or
Okay.
Smoak, say his last name, but he's like mastered the art of just like picking up the phone and just like talking to the camera and getting hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views on his videos.
Hmm.
So I look up to him as well as someone that's like, okay, like he can do something so low, like I don't want to say like low effort. I mean, it is like no editing, like there's no
Yeah.
editing, which is like the bane of my existence. I don't want to edit, right? I literally pay my videographer Jesse to do my editing for like our whatever, like few videos per week that we do, and then the ads that we're going to be running. But I want to like do a style like Michael where, yeah, you can just, you dial in the hooks, you have amazing scripting, you talk about topics that'll impact lots of people and get really good at storytelling and creating curiosity gaps. So I'd
Definitely.
say those are kind of like, I'm sure there's others too, but those are kind of the big ones right there.
Okay, okay. If you could have lunch with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
I got to go for lunch with my business coach, Dan.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, like it used to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but honestly, like Dan's had such a big impact on my life. Yeah, it's kind of fanboying right now, but yeah, just to spend time with him, get to pick his brain a little bit more, get to see how he operates, within his multiple businesses. It's phenomenal to see like what he does. And right now it's like when I look at potential, he's kind of like, I don't want to say like the gold standard because I think there's always ways to continue to like grow and surpass and all that type of stuff. But I'd
Hmm.
say in my mind, it's kind of like the gold standard of what I'm trying to build in my life right now. And I think, yeah, you want to spend time with people that are doing the thing that you want to learn how to do.
Yeah,
So it would be silly for me to pass up that opportunity. So kind of a boring answer, I guess, in a sense, because it could be anybody dead or alive. But for me, it's like with the season of life that I'm in right now, what I'm trying to learn, who I'm trying to surround myself with, I would say, yeah, Dan Martell would be the guy.
definitely makes sense. How do you balance motivation versus discipline?
Yeah. So motivation is awesome. We love motivation. I think motivation is super important when it comes to building something called momentum.
Okay.
And then discipline, I feel like it's the ability to show up even when you don't feel like it,
Yeah.
right? And the reality is, like, yes, there's going to be tons of moments where you don't feel like showing up, you're not motivated to show up, where you can kind of white knuckle it through. But I find there's a balance between the two because I like to realize, like, okay, when I was motivated, what was triggering that motivation?
Hmm.
What existed in my mind that motivation was there and it was strong? Because if it existed before, there's a way for me to ensure that it continues to exist as much as possible. Um, Something I learned was like the rule of 300, which is anyone that has a really big goal, you want 100% clarity on like what the goal and the vision is for yourself. Like literally so clear. It's like 4K high definition, like you can picture it in your mind.
Yeah.
And then 100% certainty on belief that you're actually going to be able to achieve it. And you want to hold that 100% of the time. Because
Okay.
if you're 100% clear and 100% of belief 100% of the time, then basically with that, that is your motivation. That is your rocket fuel. But most people either lose clarity on what it is they're trying to achieve and where it is that they're trying to go, or they lose the belief that it's even possible for them. And then that
Hmm.
always tanks motivation. And then even if you try to stay disciplined, the energy that goes behind the discipline isn't like an energy of abundance. It isn't an energy of growth. It isn't an energy that's going to attract people into your world. So sometimes that discipline of just continuing to show up and bang your head against the wall isn't necessarily enough. And
Okay.
I've even noticed not just in business, but in fitness too, it's like the energy I bring to my workouts will dictate like how much I push and how much I progress. Because you could be disciplined and go to the gym every day and eat your meals every day and still see no changes.
Hmm.
Like once you're at a high enough level, like if you're doing nothing and you go to doing something, like it's enough. But at some point, you'll kind of hit your plateau because your inputs are like, or I guess your outputs and inputs are going to kind of like line up, and you're never going to actually give yourself a reason to push through that next barrier. So finding that way to like again sometimes rely on momentum when you fall out of that like 300% rule
Yeah.
to because it will keep you going and it makes things feel a bit easier, but it's about reconnecting with that why, with that clarity, with that urgency as much as you possibly can. And that's where it's like having visual triggers of your goals, having gratitude practices, journaling sessions, vision board, whatever. Like for me, it's like anytime I lose like my desire to like go after it and get like the sports car of my dreams, I will go to the dealership and sit in one.
Hmm.
I will go and rent one for like a day or two on vacation because it's a hell of a lot cheaper to rent them.
Yeah.
Bring that spark back full force to keep me driving forward.
Okay.
I find that has worked really, really well for me because I know when my mind is like aligned and I'm driven and I'm motivated, everything else feels easier and that momentum is really easy to continue growing.
Makes sense. So I've heard you say that you say that people saying that you aren't natural is the biggest compliment you can receive. What's one exercise that you consider non-negotiable for your routine?
Ooh. Well, if we're talking about like physical exercise in the gym, for me, it would be some form of hip hinge. Like I deadlifts, got to do my deadlifts, love my deadlifts, great full body movement. I think everybody should work those into your program. I
Hmm.
think in terms of like if we talk about exercise, like something like a mental exercise or a different type of exercise, I think the mental exercise is going to be the biggest because that's the foundation of like everything.
Hmm.
The mental exercise is going to be like reconnecting and triggering your goals on a daily basis so you never lose that spark and desire to really go to that next level. So we got the deep answer, but the superficial answer is going to be like a
Okay,
deadlift.
makes sense. What's the most valuable lesson you have learned in your business?
Business, entrepreneurship in general is the number one most powerful and most difficult personal development journey that you are ever going to go on in your entire life. You do not like you will not earn a cent more than you think you deserve, and your business will not grow an inch more than your level of self-development. Your
Okay,
everything in your life is literally a reflection of who you are, your thoughts, your beliefs, and your actions. So you want to grow that, then you have to grow yourself to become that type of person that gets to have a large business.
understandable, understandable. What's a common mistake you see people making in their fitness journeys?
Not having a plan, like not having a clear destination, I should
Okay,
say. So that rule, that 300 rule,
yeah,
the clarity side of things. If you don't know exactly where you're trying to go and you don't have like a burning desire to get there or a strong reason to get there, then it's not going to happen by accident.
yeah,
So I would say like, like there's obviously the internal and the external, but I always talk about this. Like the external, like if like let's use the analogy of even as a magician, I'm sure there's like certain tools you can have as a magician that probably cost a shit ton of money that are like
definitely.
top line that you would kill to have. But it's like giving someone like myself the top of the line magician's tools. I wouldn't be able to do anything with them,
Fair.
right? Whereas someone like yourself who's extremely experienced, by upgrading your tools, you're going to be able to accomplish so much more.
Okay.
That's kind of how it looks within fitness too. It's like you could have the best plan, the best strategy, the dialed macros, the best access to like world-class gym and trainers.
Hmm.
But if you don't have the internal beliefs, if you don't have the vision, you don't have the desire, you don't have the belief that you can do it, and it's just never going to happen
Okay. Makes
ever.
sense. What's a factor piece of information from your field that you find interesting that other people tend to gloss over?
So my field specifically, when it comes to like entrepreneurship, I feel like people really downplay or don't recognize the importance behind building a personal brand.
Okay, definitely.
Um, I think that's the biggest thing. Like if you're trying to grow something, trying to create opportunity for yourself, and you're not on social media, you are going to get left. Like it sounds cheesy and like overplayed, but like seriously, you're going to get left behind,
Hmm.
right? Like so I think the only things that are really going to survive the like AI wave is going to be like personal brands because people aren't going to have that. I mean, maybe some people have that connection with AI and robots, whatever, but like most people are going to still crave human connection,
Yeah.
right? So it's like human connection and personal brand and like AI are going to kind of be the big things. So, but I would state personal branding because again, even if you want to pivot out of like your business and go into something else or expand into something else, like think about how easy that would be if you had a million people that are like fans of you and want to support you versus like
Hmm.
no one, right? It's like uh, when I transitioned away from fitness to like business, I still had to bridge the gap with like focusing on business within the fitness realm because I didn't have a massive following and that's how people knew me.
Yeah.
I could have
Understandable.
pivoted and like rebuilt and done something completely different. But I know as I continue to build people who know, like, and trust me, build a brand, build a community, anything that I choose to do will likely be more successful. Like we see this all the time with like the Kardashians, for example. They can literally have a, low key like shit product.
Yeah.
People are saying this sucks, but they'll still sell like millions of dollars worth of it, and the company can become worth like $1 billion pretty damn quickly because of the just the fans that they have and the personal brand that they have. They attach it, and it's like people even pay them. It's like for if I wanted to have Kim Kardashian come and promote my fitness coaching, like how many millions of dollars would I have to pay her for like
Hmm.
a post?
Definitely.
It's hundreds of thousands to millions just for her to come on and like do like a brand collab. It's insane.
Yeah.
So that's like the biggest thing. I think that kind of works for any industry, not just mine, but yeah,
Okay. In your business, how do you know when to scale or when to pivot in a different direction?
that's a really good question. Pivot or scale? For me, it's double down on what's working. There
Okay.
needs to be proof that what I'm doing is working. And I also look at the constraint. So I'm big on the theory of constraints, where the idea of the theory of constraints is like you work like I'll use the analogy of like a fire. You want to put the house fire out or the kitchen fire out before you go 2 blocks away and put out the dumpster fire.
Definitely.
A lot of people don't recognize that. So for me, it's like when I'm looking at these fires in my business or these constraints, it's a matter of like, okay, what is the next best step when it comes to putting this fire out specifically? And if I continue to grow and operate at the higher levels without putting these fires out, what's going to happen is the fire is just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and
Hmm.
it's going to burn the firehouse down,
Yeah.
right? So I think there's some holes in my analogy there when it comes to like pivoting, but for me, that's what it is. It's like, is this a constraint that I can actually fix? And if so, and it like allows for more growth, then at that point, cool. I move on to the next constraint. And if that next constraint is required, like scaling is required, like for example, I'll get more tactical here on this.
Okay.
If like my business right now, I would say I can't scale my business at all until I have more leads coming in.
Fair.
My biggest constraint is my lack of lead flow,
Hmm.
and that's due to my personal brand just not being really big yet, right?
Okay.
Like, I mean, we've worked hard to get to 6,000 followers, but that's not a ton. And I've only been doing this the last couple of years and really only marketing this business side of things hard, like in 2025.
Yeah.
So I know it's going to take time. So for me, it's like I'm not going to all of a sudden be like, oh, I should, build my team and hire more coaches. It's like, no, there's not enough leads coming in yet. Oh, I should really, give away my sales process and get closers. No, I can still handle the sales without there being an issue,
Yeah.
right? So as soon as like we uncap the lead flow and more people are coming in, okay, then that's uncapped. What's the next fire? Well, it's probably going to be me not being able to jump on all these calls or have all these conversations where then I would need to bring somebody in. So
Makes
that's how I
sense.
kind of look at like scaling a business. Now, if you're just like doing the same thing over and over and over again, and what should be working just isn't, and there's like no proof that it's going to work, at some point you need to take a look to be like, hey, do I need to start doing things differently? And there's a difference between, I think, like a healthy pivot versus a complete disruption. And I think that's where people like they disrupt themselves too often
Hmm.
because either they like start building something and it's actually something that they really don't like, or they build it in a way that they hate. So they just shut it down, self-sabotage to get out of it and try something else. Or it's shiny object syndrome. They
Okay.
see something that other people are doing. It seems really interesting. It seems easier, probably. And it seems like they can reach a higher level of success faster. Where it's like it would have been better for them just to continue leaning in and figuring out the thing that they're in versus completely jumping ship and starting to build, something completely different. Right. Because so many people do that is like they'll build a little bit, move on to the next thing, build a little bit, move on to the next thing, build a
Hmm.
little bit. It's like they never move past this ceiling where if they just stuck with the initial thing,
Yeah.
they could have like way higher already, right?
Yeah. Definitely. All right. What's your favorite memory of competing in bodybuilding?
Winning my first show.
Fair. That's understandable.
Yeah, I think it's got to be the first one. That was the most special. I had a bunch of like family members come. I had my clients come and watch me. I had my friends like that. No one really gave a shit after like winning that first one. Like people
Mhm.
stopped coming to my shows. My friends stopped. Like they don't come to my shows. Like it's kind of interesting how like your friend, like everyone's so supportive at the beginning,
Yeah.
right? And then I'm sure they'd be super supportive at like the finish line or whatever. But like kind of that in between, like no one really gives a shit. Like I don't know if
Fair.
you've noticed about your content too, where
Yeah,
it's like you're
definitely.
beginning, and then all of a sudden they just stop.
Yeah.
It's like none of my friends even watch my shit anymore. I swear. It's just like the people on my Instagram, my community does, my friends don't. Same thing with like competing. First show, everyone was there, super supportive. There was so much unknown, fear of unknown. But like everyone that I met there, they were all great people. All the competitors were awesome people, and we just had like just such a great experience. And then probably the second best one was nationals when they called me up and announced that I was a pro card winner,
Mhm.
but they did it in French because it was in Montreal. So I was up on stage and I had no idea what they were saying. It's like standing up there and I'm like, just, doing my thing. And I'm like looking around, everybody's like clapping and cheering. And they're like pointing at the camera. And I'm just like, I just remember sticking my thumb and I was like, hey, yeah, backstage. Everyone's like, yo, congratulations. That's amazing. And I was like, wait, what happened? I was like, they're like, you won your pro card. I was like, no, I didn't. They're like, yes, you did. That's why you're up on stage. I was like, what? And I had to go up to like a judge and I was like, did I win my pro card? And they're like, yeah. It's like, ah, that's a good one too. And I just remember I called a bunch of people. I was like, yo, I just went pro. Like, what the hell?
Nice.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
What are three things you enjoy doing outside of fitness and coaching?
Yes. I mean, number one thing is just like social time, socializing, spending time with my girlfriend. We've been together for 8 years now, coming up in 8 years.
Okay.
Uh, so I love, like, we have our four dogs.
Nice.
So an obsession with rescuing animals. And I just love taking them out. Like, we live really close to the mountains, so getting out to the mountains, going for like a dip in one of the alpine lakes, spending a day out there, letting the dogs run around, swim.
Hmm.
It's like one of my like all-time favorite things to do. And I try to do it every single week until winter. And even in the winter, I'll go out there with an axe and I will cut a hole in the ice and I will dip. I'm a little bit crazy like that. I love getting out into nature. I love cars.
Okay.
Uh, Fully obsessed specifically with anything Porsche. Well, not anything Porsche, but Porsche 911s. Porsche 911s are my jam. Literally the background on my phone, like the cars that I always rant,
Nice.
11s. That's like on my vision board. I want one and I've set it as a reward for a certain revenue goal. And I really want to get into car racing. Other than that, I would say I really like golfing. I wish I could golf more. Well, I probably could. It's just it's a rich man's sport, man,
Fair.
and I'm trying to save up for other things in my life, use the money for other things, but I do love golfing. It's great to get out with my friends and play, and it's something that I did with my grandfather. He
Okay.
taught me growing up, and it's something I want to continue just to like honor the time that we spent together and what we did. So
Makes
I'll always,
sense. What's the current long-term goal you have?
I want to build my business up to $10 million a year. That's like a very long term one.
All right.
Also, on top of that, on the back side of that, have the freedom to be able to go and do other things. I want to learn how to fly airplanes. So
Okay.
I'd love to get my pilot's license so that way I can actually like have an airplane that I can like fly around one day.
Yeah.
Um, that's the big one, I would say. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. And the last question I have for you is if you could ask your future self one question, what would it be?
Hmm. Was it all worth it? The time, the dedication, the sacrifices that you made to try to be the absolute best?
Hmm.
Was it worth it, or did it end up pulling you away from the things that mattered most?
I think that's a pretty good question to ask.
That's all I need to know.
Fair. All right. Well, thank you for being willing to do this. Do you have any closing thoughts or anything?
No, man, this was great. Good questions.
Thank you.
Appreciate you having me on. Now, I guess if I could do one thing for any of your audience, I know, probably they could be entrepreneurs, right? If anyone is on here and you are an entrepreneur and you're looking to start an online based services or product based business, um, you're going to have to learn how to communicate and how to pitch people in the DMs
Hmm.
and nurture leads and all that type of stuff. So if you guys head over to my Instagram is at Zach, ZAC underscore Spencer.
And I'll leave it linked
Uh,
down below as well.
yeah, amazing. I'll be more than happy to shoot you guys whatever you need to help you get started. I have a few different playbooks that I'm more than happy to give your audience, whether they need help specifically with like marketing on social media, or I have a really good DM sales playbook as well to teach you how to communicate with people in your direct messages. Widen the gap, get their vision, and how to craft and pitch an offer. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, thank you again for being willing to do this and taking your time out of your day for it.
Absolutely. Oh, and one last piece on that. If you do come to my page, what's the name of your podcast? What are you gonna name this thing?
It's a MK Talks podcast.
MK Talks. Love it, man.
Yeah,
Okay. So I want anyone that's watching this, if you do want one of my playbooks on either marketing or sales, just DM me MK, and then I'll know you came from the podcast.
that works.